Welcome to the Focused and Fearless podcast. I'm Heather Angel and I am really excited to bring to you an encore episode. This is an interview I recorded a little while back, and it's going to allow you, if you are a regular listener, to listen again and see if you implemented any of that incredible expert advice. And if you're new to the podcast, welcome, my lovely. It's so nice to have you here. I usually produce a fresh new podcast episode every single week. I'm currently recovering from some surgery, so for the next few weeks there are some encore episodes which are going to be super valuable to you. So enjoy, dive in, and I will see you very soon. You're listening to the Focused and Fearless podcast. I'm your host, Heather Angel, and I've been helping people tune into what lights them up and increase their personal and professional performance for over a decade. Now I'm best known as a high-performance coach, helping entrepreneurs like you cut through the noise and create a business and life on your terms. If you're ready to step out of struggle and discover how simple it can be to create a fulfilling, joyful, and successful business without all the overwhelm and long hours, you're in the right place. Focused and Fearless listeners, I have such a treat for you today. This is one of the special interview episodes of Focused and Fearless, and today I am speaking with the one and only James Wedmore. So I have been working with James since 2018. I signed up to his Business by Design program, and he is the founder of Business by Design and also the host of the Mind Your Business podcast. So to give you a little bit of backstory before we dive into all the gold that is in this interview, I want to share that when I found James, if you like, through however I came across him, probably a Facebook ad or something, I discovered that he really knew his stuff. And what I loved about what James teaches is he wasn't telling me, you must do it this one way. You must follow this system and this is what's going to get you the results. And I'll tell you, I've signed up for programs like that. I have been like, oh, this is what I need. This is the system I need to follow. And actually, Business by Design, that is the name of his program. It is called that for a reason. I've never really liked trying to do the whole plug and play thing. I've never really liked trying to do and run my business the way everyone else does. And, I'm a woman with 2 kids, a single mum with 2 kids, and my life is very different to a lot of these entrepreneurs who are, young, child-free, and they're like, yeah, it's fine, just do this. I'm like, our lives are very different, my friend. So if that resonates with you, you know what I mean. Don't get a young single guy to tell me about productivity. Not happening. So you know what I mean. So when I came across James and his Business by Design program, I was just like, oh, this guy's different. He's not telling me I must do it this way. He's saying I can create my business by my design. And through working with James, he has completely shifted my perspective on everything. He has shown me that I don't have to choose between A and B. I can have both. I don't have to choose between being a good mum and a successful entrepreneur. I can have both. And it's taken me a while to get there and figure it all out and sort of lean into the discomfort of what that actually looks like for me. But there's just so much that he has taught me. And honestly, I could talk about him for hours. And this interview, my gosh, there is so many rabbit holes we could have gone down. But to be respectful of your time and make sure that you're not listening to podcasts for hours and hours and you're actually taking some action in your business, we discuss the most important things, I think, that you need to hear right now. So if you are driving or if you're doing other things while you're listening to this, that's totally cool. But bookmark it. Listen back, because if you really listen to everything James is saying, there is so much gold to unpack from this episode. So without further ado, I introduce you to James. Focused and Fearless lovelies, I have such a treat for you today. I am joined by my mentor, James Wedmore. James, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me, Heather. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, I am so thrilled. And Now, my listeners know there is no fluff. We get straight to the content on this podcast. Yeah. So, James, I would love for you to share a little bit about who you are, who you help, how you help them, and how you got started in the online space.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So, today I do for others what I was able to accomplish. And I think so many of your listeners, that's what we want to do. I think we're here to help other people, lift people up and support them in some ways, and maybe shortcut their journey, make their struggles a little bit shorter or less than ours were. And that's what I'm doing today. And when you can get paid to do that, you get a real true sense of fulfillment and purpose, meaning every single day. So, I don't even know where to start. I mean, even just rewinding the clock about 5 years ago, I found myself through a lot of work, through a lot of self-growth and evolution and a lot of learning and a lot of just failures and mistakes, with a digital business, with an online business that I built around my passion. I went to film school, so I loved video. I loved making videos, but I didn't love the idea of working for somebody else. I didn't want to go into Hollywood. I didn't want to work for somebody and start by like schlepping coffee all day. So I was so stubborn, and sometimes our stubbornness can serve us, that I decided I'm going to do my own thing. And what it started with is not where it ended. Where it started was I started just making videos for anybody that would throw money at me. And so it started with like real estate agents. I was making YouTube videos for real estate agents. And we're talking, oh my goodness, like 2009, right? So a long time ago. And they pay me, I'd make them a video. And, when you're doing a service, it's easy to get paid, but it's not easy to grow, right? You only have so much, time in a day, effort and energy in one day, and you start finding that cap. And so I was able to find a way to scale that so I could help and reach more people. And I started creating, back a long time ago, 2011, online education, online courses, teaching people how to make videos. And had to learn made a lot of mistakes, but within a couple of years, I had $1 million+ a year business selling $97 courses. And, I was living the dream. You were asking me before the show about Laguna and living at the beach. I'd wake up, I'd get make a video or get a little bit of work done and go surfing, come back, do a little bit more work, and then go surfing. And I'm like, this is the dream. And, things were, and I was like, I love video. I love teaching video, and I'm getting paid a lot of money to do it. Couldn't be happier. And then something really shifted. And, there's years and struggles before that, if even just to get to that point, right? Or, everyone's on a journey, and everyone listening, you're on your journey. And maybe you don't like this part in your story, but it's all serving you. And that's something I learned. It took me a while to figure that out. But all the struggles, the heartbreak, the heartache, and the letdowns and the failures are all serving you. And the quicker you realize that, the quicker you can learn from it, the quicker we can grow. And that's just going to get you results faster. But something happened around that time is I had a friend come and stay with me. And this was a friend because they were also a business owner. They're an entrepreneur themselves. And they came and stayed because they wanted to come to Laguna. I mean, who doesn't want to come to the beach in the middle of summer and just beautiful weather and the ocean breeze? And oh my gosh, it's amazing, right? What a dream. And they noticed something that I didn't even notice. We tend to take for granted that which comes easy to us, And what she noticed was, she's like, I've been here for like 3 days and like, you've hardly worked. I don't get it. I'm like, what do you mean? She says, well, your business makes more than mine, a lot more, but I'm working all day. I'm working sun up to sundown. Like, how long? It's like, it's about 8 to 10 hours a day. And I there's nothing I can do to stop that. What is it you're doing that I haven't figured out? And, that's where I was like, wow, I kind of took for granted some of the things I was doing. And more people started coming forward and asking, how are you doing it this way? And what is it that you're doing? And why are you able to work less and continue to make more? And that really started the seeds. And that's, I think, why I share my story and spend so much time here, is because there's so much lessons in my journey, as there will be lessons in your journey. And one of them is that, when people start asking you, how are you doing this thing that you're doing? There's your next light bulb moment, right? And that's what I do today. What I realize is I'm more passionate about teaching people how to do that, teaching people how to actually do this as a business, and actually make this a business that gives them life, doesn't take away their life. And nothing, excites me more than that today, more than video, far more than video. And that's what we do. That's in a nutshell what we do is teach people how to do what I was doing back then, whether it's surfing for you or just spending time with your family or traveling or picking up a new hobby or just watching Netflix. That's up to you. But it is possible. And I like to be the proof of what's possible for others. I think you should be the proof of what's possible for others as well. And when you just continue, I know it sounds cheesy and Hallmark, but when you just continue to follow your heart and get really clear on, what are my gifts? What are my unique talents? What's my dharma? And you start living from that place and giving more of that away, you're in more alignment. And when you're in more alignment, more things in your business begin to work. And, I hope I can be that as an example. Like I can go into anything so specific, someone might just be starting, hey, where do I start? How do I even get started? And the reason you're asking that question is not because you don't know, but because there's so many places to start. And there's so many places to start because there are so many places to start. But what's always going to be beneath that is the direction you're moving towards and the place you're moving from. And look, when I did get started, this was about 2007. I just wanted to make money. I didn't want a job and I just wanted to make money. And I was sold on all these big promises and, lifestyle and all that type of stuff. So I get that. And things didn't start working until I started moving into what is it that I'm here to offer? What is it that I'm here to do? And I talk about this all the time, right? And so many people, what do you think is their next thing that they say? Well, I don't have anything special. I don't have anything unique. I don't have a purpose. I don't have blah, 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 blah. And that might be what some of you listening are saying. It's not true. It's not true. It's a law. It's called the law of Dharma. You can go research this. And the law of Dharma is just like the law of gravity. You can say, I don't believe in gravity, but that doesn't stop you from falling off a building. Right? So, yep. So the law of Dharma states that if you're alive, then that means you exist for a reason. And that reason is that there's some unique gift or talent that you have that you can offer in a way that no one else on the planet can. A unique perspective, a unique style, a unique frequency, a unique something. And our jobs are as simple as finding that, what that is. And you don't find it sitting on the sidelines of life. And then once you find it, give it away. And give it away means you can get paid for it. Okay. I charge a lot of money to work with me. And I would never give it away. And that's a whole conversation right there. But giving it away doesn't do anybody anything because, when people don't pay, they don't pay attention. There's no skin in the game. There needs to be an equal energetic exchange there. When you won't find what that unique thing is if you continue to tell yourself, I don't have that unique thing. I don't know. We got to stop telling those stories and start to tell new stories. Say, well, if it's true that I do have some unique talent, what might that be? What could that be? How could I begin to find that out? And when you start to turn that into a business, you'll find what I've discovered, what Heather's discovered, and what so many other entrepreneurs that we work with discovered is you find more meaning in your life, more purpose, more fulfillment. And yeah, you're making more money. That's great. Money doesn't give you those things. Let's just be clear on that. Money just becomes a tool. Money becomes a tool that we can use to reach even more people. We can, begin hiring a team. Oh my gosh, we can support our economy by hiring during even these times, right? Which we did. We hired 2 people and a team so we hired 2 full-time people during this time. And I want to say 10 or 12 coaches that are part-time during this time, and that's because we have that tool and we can use that tool. And you don't think we're going to reach more people, help more people, make a bigger impact, spread our message while they're getting support. When everyone's losing their jobs, these people on our team don't have to worry about that. Right. Mm-hmm. So, this is really exciting times. And this is why I'm especially passionate about all of this, especially right now.
Yeah. And there's so much literally in my mind. I was, I want to pick up on that and that and that and that. There's so much in just that.
I know, sorry.
No. That's what I love about having you on the podcast, because I knew you would give so much gold. And I think one of the things I really want to speak to is there's two things about the time element. And I know, it showed up for me massive when I started up. It shows up for my audience that we equate the amount of time we work in how successful we're going to be. And that is so often what keeps us stuck, because we, when we do get to the point, we're like, okay, well, I'm working 70 hours a week and okay, I'm earning some good money now, but I can't possibly grow my business now because I can't do 140 hours a week. That'll break me. So, can I speak to that? Because this is a big one. Please do.
Okay. Time and energy. And I mean energy and like, are you tired today or are you full of energy? Right? That's why I mean it. These are finite resources, right? It's like gasoline in your car. You can only put so much gas in the car and then start driving it before you're on empty. There's only so much energy you have in the day before you start getting tired, and you need to rest. You need to recharge that. There's only so many hours in a day. These are what we call finite resources, okay? These are the resources that most are operating from. But the truth is, whether you realize this or not, all of us, this isn't just some like positive pep talk, but these are just facts. You are infinite potential, okay? Each and every one of us. And we know that because everything that you see around you, whether it's a skyscraper in a big city to giant metal objects flying through the sky called an airplane, to all the technology, even down to our cell phone, these are creations from us. Like someone dreamed this up and someone created that, right? To corporations and organizations and charities and everything that gets created gets created because someone had to believe in that. And when you're using these finite, constricted resources as your tools for creating something infinite, you're limiting that potential. In other words, when you say how much time or energy you have determines what's possible in your life, how much do you think you're limiting the possibility that's available to you? And so we need to begin working from another set of tools. We need to transcend time. We need to transcend energy. And here's why. Let's say Heather and I both want to build pools in our backyards. I don't know. That's the first thing that came to my mind, right?
That sounds good.
That sounds great, especially it's getting hot. Oh my gosh. I'm in Sedona, Arizona, and it's going to be 98 degrees today. Whew, it is hot, right? So we're going to build a pool. And, so I say, let's go. We'll both start today. And she starts digging with a shovel, right? Well, of course, it's going to take a while digging with just her and a shovel. And then I come in and I've got one of those like bulldozer things, right? Those just big bobcat forklifty, I don't know what to call them, earth movers, right?
Yeah.
So how long is it going to take Heather to dig a hole the same size as the hole I build for my pool? And this is what we're talking about. It might take Heather weeks. And that's no jab at your hole digging abilities, Heather. That's like anybody who's really good at digging holes. It's going to take a while. And I'm going to do it in couple hours. Okay. So we got the same thing done, but one person got it done in a fraction of the time as the other person. And it doesn't just mean, spend more money. That's one possibility, of course. But it's really about the way you begin approaching what you're going after. It's really about, where do I choose to spend my time? How do I leverage my time? Because one of the things that I really pride myself on and really teach my students is how we can move faster, get results quicker, and be more efficient. And the truth is starting any business, there's going to be so many things that command your attention, that fight for your time, that you could stay busy for the next 6 months full time and still have nothing to show for it. And that's really what happens. That's really, at the end of the day, why so many entrepreneurs are overwhelmed, burnt out, and broke. And they're working their tails off, but they have nothing to show for it. And I'm going to tell you, if you're just getting started right now, I'm just warning you of what's to come if you're not mindful. In other words, I could give anyone here a to-do list that's a mile long. And you could stay so busy and get so productive and be like, look how fast I get stuff done. And you could be doing it the fastest. You could even dig that hole faster than my bulldozer did. But it doesn't move the needle. It doesn't get the results. And so we have to get really clear on a few things, okay? And what that is and what we really teach our students is, first is, in any business, the most important thing that only you and you alone as the CEO, what we call the digital CEO, must make the priority in your business is the 5%. It's the Pareto principle on steroids. There are just 5% of activities in the business that are responsible for 95% of the results. So in business, I work with a lot of women, and they some of them will push back a little bit and say that this is very masculine. But the truth is results are what we're all after. I mean, we can call that masculine and whatnot. But when someone says, "What do you want to do?" I want to grow my business. What do you think we're talking about? Growing your business means making more money, more sales, more customers, helping more people, reaching more of your clients, getting more of the yeses, right? Those are the results. And the moment we say, I want to do this for myself, that's what you're signing up for. That's what your business needs. And what I'm offering is, if you're overwhelmed, if you're working too much, you're spending too much of your time not doing the 5% activities. And if we begin looking at, or even just spending more of our time there, we start moving the needle faster, okay? So what are those 5% activities? Well, that's the first question you really, really want to ask yourself. What are these 5% activities? What are the 5% activities that is the digital CEO's number one role and responsibility, right? Now, here's the funny thing. Before we start to look at that and investigate that, the first thing I want to encourage you to consider is that there's a reason why we're not spending our time there. Each and every one of these 5% activities exists outside your comfort zone. So you guys have heard that before, right? We have a comfort zone. Well, what's a comfort zone? Comfort zone is this imaginary made up zone in our head. It's all made up, where we have told ourselves what is comfortable and what is uncomfortable, what is safe and what is unsafe, what is certain and what is uncertain. Everything that is your 5% activities, if you're overworking and not seeing the results you want, I can guarantee you exists outside of your zone, your illusionary zone of what is what you call the comfort zone. And ironically, these are the things that are going to make you the money that you want, get you the results that you want, give you the business and the life that you want. And that's why most people aren't successful in business, is because they're not willing to have the courage and step up and step out and spend more of their time there. Because what is the safe? If you want to look at the 5% activities, we actually have to look at what are the 95% activities that are in the comfort zone. And that's pretty easy. Choosing a business name, creating your business plan, right? I've never had a business plan. I started learning what that was when I first got. I was like, what is this? I don't need this. You don't need a business plan. My mission statement, my logo, my colors, my branding. I need a new photo shoot. I'm not saying you don't need any of these things necessarily. You don't need them to get started, but they're all inside your comfort zone. You're not risking diddly squat working on your About Me page for 9 hours a day and then tweaking it and starting over. Mm-hmm. You're not risking anything just creating your Twitter account. I'm not saying you shouldn't have any of these things. What I'm saying is we got to stop fooling ourselves. We got to stop distracting ourselves with busyness. And that's what most people are doing. They have a dream. They have a goal. You all have a dream or goal. You wouldn't be watching this. You wouldn't care about this if you didn't. But then the moment we say, or we make that desire, or that decision that I want this thing, the moment you do that, we have to realize that simultaneously it's number one, it's a dream or a desire because you don't have it, right? You desire the things that you don't have. And then we have to acknowledge that the reason we don't have it is because there's something that we haven't been doing in order to get that. And that thing that is required of you is going to be scary. It's going to be uncomfortable. It's inevitable. And we, of course, stay in our comfort zone and wait for it to be not scary. That doesn't happen, right? That's like saying, I want to go surfing, James, but I don't want to get wet. So I'll wait until the ocean dries up and then I'll go surfing. It's never going to meet you inside your comfort zone. You're going to have to meet it. Right? And then, of course, your comfort zone will follow, because once you do that scary thing, it's no longer as scary as it was before, is it? Right? So we can just stay so busy, so safe, doing all these things that don't really put it on the line, that don't really have us risk anything. And the truth is, nothing is at risk. You know, people feel fear about doing that first Facebook Live or sharing that first podcast or that first piece of content or making that first offer, right? Or sending that first email. And we get so afraid. I've been there, okay? So I'm only speaking about things that I've had the personal experience through. The difference is that I just kept going. I didn't let those things stop me. And I'm here to tell you, and I know Heather will tell you, that even though that fear is so real, feeling, right? And it feels like the same type of fear if you were being like chased down by a lion or something, that your life, your survival is never at risk. You know, I've never had someone reach through a computer screen and attack me, even though it feels like they can be that scary. And so, you know, yeah, we want to lean in the direction of what scares us most. That is the indicator. You've probably heard that before, right? You've heard, you know, like, feel the fear, do it anyways, or it scares me, therefore I must. And of course, I 100% agree with that. The difference is most people just hear that, oh yeah, I've heard that before. Oh yeah, that sounds nice, but they're not doing it. They're not living it. And all I got to say is, you now know the consequence when you choose not to. You don't have to. No one's telling you have to. You don't need to. You can do whatever you want. It's your life, and we have choice. Life is a choice. And that's the choice we got to make. Am I going to choose to stay safe and in my comfort zone and give up on my dreams because I don't want to experience any fear or uncomfort? And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Or am I going to choose to step outside of my comfort zone and do something that scares me so that I can experience a little bit more of who I am and what I'm capable of, what's possible for me, demonstrate a little bit more courage, and in that moment, maybe help some people, maybe make a difference in someone's life? Because at the end of the day, if you really want to do that, it's as simple as that. Focus more of your energy, focus more of your time, less on what will they say? What will they think? What will they do? What if they judge me? What if they kick me off? What if they have a question for me that I can't answer? And more of your time on, maybe there's someone out there I could help today. Maybe someone out there needs to hear what I have to hear. That's all I'm doing before I get on this call with you. It's like, maybe there's somebody listening that needed to hear this today.
Yeah. So
what do I have to say? What could help them? When you're in that place, there's nothing to worry about, because you're coming from a place of love. You're coming from a place of compassion. You're coming from a place of service. There's no fear. There's no ego in that.
Yeah.
And if you look at anybody you follow, like Heather, anyone you look up to today, for no matter what reason, those that have been around, those that are going to stay around, that's where they're all coming from. That's what they all have in common.
Absolutely. So, and it's just, I really hope everyone that's listening, you need to listen to this again and again and again, because I really hope that sinks in, because it's very easy, I think, when we have our vision and our dream and we start out, we come from, and you said it before on your podcast, we come from an employee mindset, and we think that actually working hard and doing all the things and seeking permission and looking for validation the whole time, that's almost ingrained to us from school.
Yes, it is.
And it's, and I've shared on my podcast, this is testament to what James teaches, is that I'm now growing my business. It's growing faster than it ever has before. And I'm considering homeschooling. Now, that a year ago or 2 years ago, I would have been like, I can't do that. I don't have enough time. I can't possibly do that. I can either be a mum or a business owner. They need to go to school. But now, from working with James, it's completely shifted. And once you have that shift, you're like, oh, it's okay. It's all good. It's, you can create your reality that you want. Yes.
And, I hear that all the time. Obviously I'm not a mom. We don't have kids yet, but my sister now has 2. And I've heard it from her. You're never a guru in your hometown or in your family. And I hear it from so many people when they first join us inside Business by Design that life is like kind of like an A or B conversation. You know, it's like I can either be a great mom or a great business owner. And I get it. Watching my sister, oh my goodness, you know, I don't get it, but I attempt to as best as I can, right? Like how much, what it takes, the time, the sacrifice. Oh my gosh. And, you know, I'm not here to downplay that, belittle that, or say, oh, it's not that bad. But what I won't stand for is for us to start to develop a belief that it's then therefore not possible. Because what I've said time and time again is that no matter how little time you think you have, no matter how little resources, money, support, you know, like support from your spouse, support from your friends, support from the rest of your family, no matter how little of those things you think you have right now, there is someone with less, and they made their dreams possible. Mm-hmm. And it's when we start changing from an A or B conversation in our life. That is a very black or white, stale and 2D paradigm. I can either be this or that. I can either be A or B. Which you can do that. That's totally fine. And you begin to operate from a new context of A and B. Your life will, you know, become so much more enriched because you're doing so much variety. So much else becomes possible. Mm-hmm. What would it look like? How is it possible to have A and B? And it's always possible. Mm-hmm. It's always possible if we believe it's possible. There's always a way. There's always a way. Mm. We've seen that time and time and time again. And it's not possible, however, if, like you said, Heather, just to repeat what you said, if we're operating like, you know, a hardworking employee in our business, because the moment you said you want a business, there's actually several roles. There's actually several seats, positions in your business. There's no business out there that's just one role. Can't have it. Even if you're like a freelancer, there's a person who is doing the marketing. There's a person who's closing the sale. There's a customer support. There's a billing and invoicing person. And then there's a person delivering it. Even as a freelancer, there's already 5 roles, right? Yep. And so this is why people haven't experienced time and time again that they're working harder and longer and then seeing less as soon as they step into a business, because they're trying to do all the roles and they're trying to spend 10 hours a day in each role. You can't do it. But there are ways, and there always are ways, right? And the more you start spending, you know, your time in the 5% activities, and yes, we talk about how you can start hiring even when you tell the story that you can't afford to hire. Mm-hmm. You know, that becomes very possible very fast, and it becomes possible. So I invite everyone to look at what they want in their life and say, you can have it all. You can have what you desire. Even if it's 2 or 3 things, you can have it all.
Yeah. And it's truly game-changing when you do start looking at life like that. And for those of you that are just like, oh my gosh, how? Like, I know this is the question I get, like, but how? So James actually has an amazing series coming out called Rise of the Digital CEO. Now, if you haven't seen it, oh, you are in for a treat. It's genuinely like getting excited about a Netflix, something you're going to binge on Netflix. I look forward to this every year. James, I was watching your stories on Instagram when you were filming the new bits for it, and I am just dying to know how you fit a Rambo scene into a business training. So let my audience know, what have you got coming up in this training? What is it all about for those that have not experienced it before? Because it is an experience.
Yeah. I think, you know, anybody that's inspired by or excited by or even just has the desire at all to look at an online business or start taking it seriously. I think there's a lot of people in this time right now that are finally like, oh, okay, online businesses are thriving. Maybe I should start to take it seriously. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, now is as good a time as any. How do I get started? But also, like, how do I do it the right way? And that's what we really want to focus on. That's what we love to focus on. That it's more than just like, you know, oh, I just create an online course and all these people are going to just suddenly start handing me money. You know, how's that working for you, right? And so when it started with that first person that came and stayed at my house and was like, how are you doing this? I realized that there were some things that I was doing in my business that I had in place that they didn't. And then we did that for that person. And that person actually went from, they were doing $200,000 a year when I met them, and were exhausted. working 7 days a week all day to 9 months later, they took their business to $9 million in sales, and they were working just a couple hours a day. No joke. Like, that's crazy pants. They were traveling more, all that stuff. Like, it's unbelievable, right? And so, now today we work with a lot of other people on all different levels. And I tell each and every one of them the same thing I'm going to tell you guys in this series. There's 5 things that every single online digital business needs to have in it. And even if you're missing just one of these things, now you know why things aren't working. It's just like the ingredients in a cake or a apple pie. You what happens if you follow the recipe, but you say, we don't need to put flour in there. Or, we don't need to put the apples in there. You leave one ingredient out, what happens? Mm-hmm. You don't get the same outcome. And then you're like, you wouldn't be confused. Why doesn't it taste like apple pie? I didn't put apples in it, but it doesn't taste, it's obvious, right? And so you got to have all these ingredients in them. And that's what we break it down. We break it down. We show you unbelievable case studies and examples of every different niche imaginable. People that are teaching, at-home fitness, virtual fitness, like Pilates and at-home workouts and yoga, to things like spirituality and meditation, to people who teach social media or work with other small businesses or freelancers like hairstylists, and everything in between, and how they're doing this, and how you too can as well. We call it the Rise of the Digital CEO. And that's what this is about. This is about not treating this like a hobby, which if you want to do that, that's fine. We're probably not going to get along too well. But I don't work with people that don't take their life, their dreams, like as a serious and a level of commitment that they're willing to do what it takes. It's, that's me. But people who are ready to do this and do this the right way and actually take it seriously and actually treat it like a business and run it like one, so that it can give you the life that you want. That's called being the digital CEO. That's what we teach our students how to do, because that's what your business needs. At the end of the day, that's what the business you want needs. It needs a digital CEO, and we show you how to do that.
Yeah. And it is so worth watching, because you will find out in the training. I've had my ascension model completely upside down. And if you want to know what that means, you're going to watch the series. I was just like, that might be why things aren't working. So where can they find out more, James? Where can they find out more about you, find out more about Rise of the Digital CEO?
So you can find out and connect with me over on my Instagram account. It's at James Wedmore. Do you have a link, Heather?
I will, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I will link it all up in the show notes for you. But one place, do connect with James on his podcast, Mind Your Business podcast. It's pure gold.
Yeah, we just go, we go deeper with the conversation that we started here today. On the podcast, I really point out that a lot of the blocks and the internal struggles and the points of contention that happen in our life when the moment we say, I want to be an entrepreneur, are really internally driven. Our beliefs, our perspectives, our past experiences. Oh my gosh, all of that plays such a role in our performance. And, I really want to help you perform at a higher level as an entrepreneur. So that's called the Mind Your Business podcast. And I think we have, oh my goodness, like 380 episodes at this point. It's absolutely crazy. So I don't know, start anywhere.
Yeah. I'll be linking up some of my favorite episodes in the show notes, and you can find James and the links to the Rise of the Digital CEO. But James, for now, thank you, my love. It's been lovely having you on the podcast.
Yeah, you as well. Thank you so much, Heather. And thanks you guys for tuning in.
You're very welcome. And guys, I will see you on the next episode. Thank you for listening to the Focused and Fearless podcast. If you'd like to continue the conversation or have a question that you would like answered in an upcoming episode, head over to Instagram and connect with me at Heather Angel Coaching. If you enjoy this podcast, please share your thoughts in a review on iTunes. I truly value your feedback, and I take the time to read every single review. Have a beautiful week, and I'll see you in the next episode.